Alright, what's going on guys? Chili Games back again, and I have video with the Missouri. We just got it loaned to us with the CC program, and I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know what to say about this ship because in the grand scheme of things, in terms of gameplay, it's really nothing special. The only difference that's honestly worth noting with the Missouri is obviously you have a radar, which is quite nice. It's 9.5 kilometers, 35 seconds. And other than that, between that and the Iowa, they are so incredibly similar. And about 95% of your games are going to be the exact same. This was actually a game where I didn't actually have to use my radar, but there was a place in about 5 or 7 minutes or so like that, where I would have had an opportunity if I needed to finish somebody off. So I'll talk about that when it comes there. But it's this is difficult. I mean, obviously the Missouri is an extremely historic ship, and it looks cool. It has a nice camo, but um, yeah, I don't know. It's 30K steel is that's a lot of grind, and the steel grind has been so bad in my opinion that it's just a ship that unless you really like Iowa or you really like the historic value of Missouri, it's a pretty hard sell. Even, I mean, it's definitely better than Iowa, for sure. Having a radar is so incredibly important that it's not even funny. But, I mean, we're talking about months. And the only reason why we got it now is because they told us that we wouldn't get it until other people had got it first. So, I mean, this is just months. And these people have been buying out the campaigns, doing every single event to get steel. And honestly, this is a ship that I myself will not pick up. I think I have around like 7,000, almost 8,000 steel. And the biggest thing for me with steel is they release Missouri and it's 30,000 steel. And then they're like, this is supposed to be like a long grind. It's tier 7, it's all this stuff. And then what do? They say the only way to basically get steel is to do either ranked or, the arena, which is fine, but it was like tier 3 and tier 4 and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, why are you... And then obviously buying out the campaign. So first of all, I'm not going to buy out the campaign because that's extremely expensive. And you only get like a handful of steel for all that stuff. And then the only other way for me to get it is to play, low, like very, very low tiers. Like I was just like, no, like I'm not interested in that. Like not only is Missouri for me gameplay wise not the most appealing thing, and I wouldn't really probably get it anyways. I would wait for something better. The way of actually obtaining it is just really, really bad. I mean, it's just honestly, in my opinion, there to encourage you to buy out the campaign and try to squeeze out as much steel as possible. And it's just not really, I don't know. I mean, I played this game a good bit, and I've only got around 8,000. So it's just not really, it hasn't been that great of a journey to actually get steel. And so, yeah, enough of the steel talk. I mean, that's kind of its own topic. It's not my favorite way, and hopefully they keep adding more ways to actually get it. But right now it's been kind of, I mean, at least it's better when it's in high tier stuff because that's more fun. But man, we've had so many low tier things. It's just ultimately boring. But anyways, this is where Missouri will come into shine, and I can comfortably load high explosive because I can basically guarantee that I'm going to get a shot off against this Shimakaze, which is over here. And that's where Missouri is going to win you more games than Iowa would, because having the ability to switch to high explosive and basically guarantee yourself a a high explosive shot against a destroyer that you wouldn't have been able to self-spot with yourself in an Iowa before is extremely powerful. And obviously I didn't have to use my radar here because our Shimakaze is actually spotting him. He actually came back around and I was really happy about that. But sadly he will die. But as you notice, the Shimakaze had used his smoke earlier, and I'm watching this engagement go down, and I'm really hoping that the Shima can get at least one more salvo off, and he does. And that puts the Shimakaze at a very, very low health. So I really only have to hit him like one time. But any time where you can actually get a high explosive salvo on a DD, it's obviously going to do a lot more damage than AP, just because you have the chance to set fires, you have all this kind of stuff, and it's just, honestly, it's just the best shell type to shoot at destroyers. So, yeah, this is not a crazy game, guys. It really isn't. I had to play a little bit passive at the beginning, and you're going to see me kind of turn around here because this is what I want to push. The GK is very, very low, and I'm pretty confident that I can actually take care of the Conqueror, and I actually want to work my way down to C so I can get shots across to that Iowa there. So it's a weird ship to comment about. There's not a lot of differences. Random fact, the Missouri actually has a slight faster shell travel speed for its HE compared to the Iowa. It's like maybe, I think it's 6 meters per second, so it's a very negligible difference. It's not anything to change gameplay. So, just a little weird fact there. We take a risky turn to turn into this curve first, but you know I'm done kiting around and playing safe. We've secured this flank. We need to push the objective. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Missouri. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys have already said like it's not worth it. I mean, honestly, to me personally, like I don't play Iowa enough anyways. And I am nowhere close to even actually getting 30k steel. So at this rate, it would take me like a year and a half with the amount that they actually put out. So, I mean, I would almost never ever pick the ship up. And it's not to say that it's a bad ship. Obviously, it's good. Iowa's still pretty strong. Iowa's a very consistent ship. It's just not my favorite kind of ship to play in the game. As you can notice, because, I mean, look at this matchmaking. This matchmaking is terrible. And the only saving grace of this matchmaking was that I actually have a radar. You know, but it's just a little, it's just not my thing. I play battleships in Division just because it's easier to have fun, but when you're in a battleship solo, it's much harder to actually carry the game because you're much more team dependent, and the game doesn't really favor battleships almost at all. And I say that as a cruiser player. I play cruisers about 65% of the time, DDs probably 25% of the time, and then the rest is battleships, and that's just completely honest. You notice at the beginning of the game, I wanted to turn left because I wanted to get where I'm heading now, but I just couldn't because they had 4 DDs, and there is an insanely high odds, there's really high odds that I would have been spotted. And this was my first game in the Missouri, and I really didn't want to come out broadside at the beginning of the game to a Yamato and all this and a GK. So I had to reverse out a little bit so I could get a better angle to turn. And yeah, battleships are just not a lot of fun because most of the time when you spawn in, your game is either extremely limited because of just the spawns, or you just have to make something work. But you know. This is basically Iowa. Broadside shot against the other Iowa there. Was hoping for a little bit more, but we should have aimed a little bit more midship because he was backing up. Conqueror's coming around. I was wanting to take a follow-up shot against the Iowa, but obviously a Conqueror is going to be pretty tough to get down, but not when he shows broadside like this. So thankfully, we get to punish the Conqueror with 2 Citadels, so he is gone, and we're going to be able to secure this cap for free. And like I said, guys, this is, I mean, I was joking with a lot of people. I was saying, you know, like, hey, what if I just had an Iowa gameplay in the background for my Missouri video? And just been like, see here, if I was in the Missouri, I would have radared this target. But honestly, that's how most of your games are going to go. It's going to play exactly like in Iowa. aside from the time when you can actually just, oh, hey, I have a button to spot this person here. So, I don't know. That is pretty much going to be it. In terms of differences, there's some very slight ones. My build, I'm actually running the AA mod, which does put the rating up to 100, but the AA stats are the exact same compared to the Iowa. The only difference, I think, is the HP, which is a little bit less for the Missouri, but technically, with the ability to spot destroyers, it technically means that your survivability against them is going to be better because you can actually spot them and do damage to them yourself a lot more effectively than you could without a radar. So you lose a little bit of HP compared to Iowa, but you gain it back, in my opinion, with just the ability to stay alive longer and actually kill targets that would have probably killed you in an Iowa. Then that's kind of how I'm just going to word it. I think everything else is basically the same, and I don't really, don't really know what to say in this video. Though I think it's a good ship, sure. It's just not worth that much steel, especially with how much you have to grind for it and the ways you have to grind for it. I mean, the people that have got it this fast, I mean, their money is their money, but man, it has probably taken them a lot of money just because they've been buying out the campaigns or whatnot, you know. They've been playing a lot, so it's just, it hasn't been a healthy way of going about grinding a ship and currency. Now, biggest thing, you probably might get some comments about, like, oh, well, Chili, you said like the Stalingrad's worth, you know, 200 or 2 million global XP, and yes, I still plan on getting the Stalingrad. There's a lot of ships that I could get in its place, obviously, but I just not very interested in it. You know, I'm not really interested in the other GXP ships. I have the ships that I want to play, and I actually really, really like Stalingrad. It's a very basic ship. It's, you know, you tank with your armor, and you shoot AP at the most optimal targets, and the AP smacks things. So I think a much better place for Stalingrad actually would be 1.5 million GXP. But it's good. I think it's good that it's 2 million at the beginning here because they're going to get a ton of feedback saying 2 million is too much, and it's probably going to go down. So I'm happy that they highballed it a little bit too much at the beginning, and hopefully that we see it go down if they decide to actually do it. And honestly, Stalingrad's a really, really powerful ship, so I'm kind of glad that it wasn't just easier to get than what it is, because facing one that actually knows how to not show broadside is an absolute nightmare for pretty much anything. So thank your chickens that it's not just flooding the matchmaking. It's kind of like Linen. When you see a Linen player who knows not to just show broadside, getting rid of a Linen is so incredibly annoying to any ship. It is awful. So in terms of the grind, I think Stalingrad, while being highballed for 2 million GXP, I think it's worth it because GXP is 100% free to grind, and, you know, there's been tons of ways to grind it. You know, we've had Arena. Those games in Arena that I was making, you know, 3,000 to 5,000 global XP. You know, it's, the opportunities to grind GXP are there. Steel, however, is not, you know, it's just, you know, I honestly, like 100%, could never see myself actually investing 30,000 steel. And I don't think I'm ever going to get 30,000 steel in this game. I don't know. At this rate, unless things change, I honestly don't think I will get 30,000 steel. You know, I mean, if they have Arena below Tier 5, I'm not going to play it that much. I'm going to be 100% on it. I don't enjoy those tiers for that kind of stuff. You know, I like playing the high tiers. Anything above 5 is good with me, but below that, it feels kind of dumb, and I don't see myself playing it a lot. I wasn't able to play Arena because I was gone last week due to a vacation, but I was able to actually play 10 games on Sunday for the Tier 7, and I had a lot of fun. I was only able to play 10 games, but I actually squeaked into the 10%, and I had a lot of fun. I was playing ships like the Bismarck. I was playing just some wacky things, just having fun, and I love Arena. And when the high tiers, with the boost and all that kind of stuff. It is so ridiculous that it's just fun. And, you know, if they keep doing higher tier stuff with steel, I will eventually start gaining steel at a faster pace, but I'm not going to play the lower stuff to get a long grinding ship like this. But anyways, guys, Iowa 2.0, I know this really isn't much of a video, but it's Missouri really, gameplay-wise, is not that much of a change from what we already have. It has a radar. If you want to pay 30 grand in steel for it's a good radar, but still, that's really about it, you know. So let me know what you think. If you're going to get the Missouri, if you're close, if it's going to take you about another 2 years at this rate for you just like me. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end this here. Pretty decent game. Shimakaze actually played really well. And Conqueror did a good play, running away from the gearing, because running into a DD that you can't spot in a battleship is just kind of asking to die. So good play on him. Got the victory. We would have been able to secure the kill on Shimakaze because we got our radar, obviously. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all take it easy. Peace.